and the average age of the priests that are existing at the moment are getting older and older and older, and they cannot find people to replace them. So that makes the possibility of the one world religion, another one of their goals, is also being worked on. They want this microchip population, and I've also written a report about this, where they have gone from, tagging farm animals to tagging pets, prisoners. They're working on people who are with Alzheimer's disease or some level of mental deficiency. They're working on our children. That's the current progression of that agenda. Is they're saying, your children will be much more safe if they have this microchip in them. But the problem with this is that these microchips can also affect the mental state of the individual because they are able to both broadcast and receive signals. So how they've overstepped their boundaries, for instance, is they've removed so much of the real money from the global monetary system, and by that I'm referring to the precious metals, gold and silver and platinum, that the global financial collapse is imminent at this point. And in fact, I've been hearing rumors where it might even happen this year.
Do you think that this will be a global collapse or just the U.S. dollar?
It's going to affect the whole world. And I'll tell you why. The United States has what is known as the reserve currency for the global economic system. And that means that most everything is traded in dollars, U.S. dollars. Certain of the countries in the Middle East have taken some of their money, which were originally in U.S. dollars, the holdings, and moved them over to the euro currency, which is kicking our butt in a big way. And this is why this may begin in the United States and continue throughout the rest of the world.
Regarding also Middle East, I guess there is a lot of, the war drums are beating on the invasion of Iran, basically. Also, I guess nukes going into all of this, nuclear war. What's your take on this? Do you think that we will see a war with Iran between U.S.?
It does appear so. What's been happening lately is, and I've been watching this on a regular daily basis, is that the U.S. is moving a lot of battle groups into the Persian Gulf, aircraft carriers and other support type of ships and so forth. And again, you go back to the fact that they're showing us on TV that there's going to be a nuke going off inside the United States. That presents a very big possibility of a pretext of blaming that on Iran. And where there is no support to do so at the moment, and just the other day they, in the U.S. Congress, presented a bill which is called the Universal Service Act, which means that every child under the age of 25 will have to spend at least 2 years in the military, just like they do in Israel and other countries. And so all these movements are going on, and they don't make sense unless you apply this bigger picture picture to them where they're showing these very intense psychological based events on TV, and then you see from day to day in the national news media, which is controlled by the globalists, by the way, that this very same theme runs throughout the news media. So once again, this is not a coincidence.
Yeah, I totally agree. Another interesting aspect of this to talk about is also, of course, the the reason for the invasion of Iraq, because even officially there are no ties, between Iraq and 9/11, the event as it was taken on the official level, but a lot of people speculate that it's the only reason that they are in Iraq today is because of oil, basically, and all of this stuff. But do you agree on that, or do you have another take on it? Because I know a few people out there who have they're very different ideas about that. Let me just say that.
Yeah. Well, obviously the thing that everybody's going to begin with is the oil. That's the most obvious part of all of this. But I agree with Michael Tsarian when he says that if you want to look at why we're really in Iraq, you look at what they did when they first got in there. And they looted all the museums for the religious ancient artifacts, which could be used. And I believe that this group of people, this Illuminati, believe they have the power to do this, is to raise this Nephilim group that is interred in the Iraq ground at this point. And this, on an occult level, could bring upon our world a dark age unto and unlike anything else we've ever experienced before.
Very interesting. Do you?
That could be a bigger reason or a bigger picture reason as to why they went there to begin with.
So do you think the expansion of the war into Iran is to further, I guess, dominate or to take over the area to be able to control it in the years ahead here, I guess?
Yeah, in the year 2000, a group called the Project for a New American Century, or PNAC for short, had published this report called Rebuilding America's Defenses. And in this report, it talked about all the same countries that we are, at this moment, calling our biggest enemies. Iraq, Iran, Syria, Lebanon, North Korea, China. And this is going to escalate into what these people want, which is a biblical version of Armageddon.
So that's
World War III, if you want to look at it in terms of that.
Yeah. So this is the blueprint, I guess, for how to. I don't know, what do you think it is ultimately about? I mean, do you think that this is about the destruction of humanity or civilization, or to just kind of reboot the entire system, basically, and of course I guess we could tie in the fact that they have plans on eliminating a large percentage of the population, right?
Yeah, that's true. In fact, Prince Andrew had said that if he could come back as anything in a reincarnated being, he would like to be a virus that would kill a large section of the population.
Yeah.
Ted Turner, who started CNN, had said that his ideal global population is 300 million people. So you're talking about a decrease of about 90 to 95% of the the current global population. And then if you do research on this and you go into and look at some of these reports that have been published by some of these think tanks, like the Club of Rome, Limits to Growth was one of their reports, where they were talking about we have to do things that will reduce the population. We have to do this as humanely as possible. And their idea of humanity and being humane is to bring about things like AIDS and this bird flu situation.
Yeah.
And this is all in an effort to kill off this large sector of the global population.
Amazing. A very recent article from the BBC talked about Canadian scientists who are now have recreated the 1918 flu virus.
Yes.
They basically have dug up, frozen bodies from the permafrost, basically, and recreated this virus. And again, I guess this ties into the fact that we might be looking at something that would be a virus killing off people, right?
Yeah, and here's the big problem with this too, is that we are fanatical about using a lot of antibiotics as to take control of and to heal ourselves from disease and flus and things like that. And because we overuse these antibiotics, a lot of this stuff that they're going to come out with that is in development, just as you mentioned a second ago, is not going to be killed off by the current antibiotics. And it's just because we've overused these to the point where they are largely ineffective at this point. So there is a huge possibility here, and I've been a health care advocate for since 1984, and I have seen and looked at these issues very closely, even including the AIDS situation, because I happen to be an HIV-positive man with hemophilia, bleeding disease.
Oh my!
And I found out that in 1971, through the U.S. Pentagon appropriations budget, they put in $20 million to develop a virus that would kill off a large sector of a targeted population.
Do you think that HIV was a failed, implementation of a virus, I guess? Because I don't know. Obviously, I mean, this kills a lot of people. Still, that's not the point here. But I guess their dream would be to kind of kill more people, I guess, than faster, right? But this still, kind of lingers on in the background, I guess.
Yes, as a matter of fact, that is true. But if we go to the subcontinent of Africa, for instance, they are talking about within the next 15 or 20 years, the very real possibility that there will be no black people in all of the subcontinental African area. Which is on one level saying that this is extremely successful for them.
Yeah, that's right. I mean,